What's going on, y'all? It's the kid J Nolan here, and you're now tuned into the Songwriter Social Club. For those of y'all that don't know what the Songwriter Social Club is, it's just a gathering of artists, producers, songwriters, etc. We come together and talk about the music business and demystify some of the concepts and things that uh, maybe are not always presented to us as we're coming into the game. I know for me personally, I came into music at I was 15 years old. I was presented with my first foray into the music business at 18. I was advised to have a lawyer. Luckily, that deal never went through. But it's a lot of things that can get thrown at you fast as an upcoming artist, as an independent artist. So I definitely, as I've gotten more experience and been around the block and done a lot of different things, I want to give back. As y'all know, I also have an ebook out called The Pen Game Portfolio that also breaks a lot of these things down. But today I have two very special guests lined up. One is by the name of SLik D, aka SLik Dizzle, and we also have another artist who goes by the name of really Khalil. Today specifically, we're going to be talking about ownership as an independent artist. All right, so a lot of people want to be involved in the music industry or the music business. And like I said before, I say them separately because I believe them to be two different things. We love to talk about ownership. We hear people talk about owning your masters, owning your publishing, owning a label, and getting 100% of royalties, and the list goes on. But what does that really look like? How do you gain ownership of these things? And how can you obtain documentation to prove that you are indeed the owner of these things, right? And what are the ethics when it comes to ownership? Because being in a position of power also requires a higher level of responsibility. So we're going to get right into it. The first thing I want to get into is the concept of owning your masters and what that means. And then I want to address the idea of owning 100% of your master. So in basic terms, your master is one of two copyrights that exist for your music. This is the actual track that can be played and heard out loud, duplicated, and distributed into the market. The other copyright is the composition, which will be your written lyrics or the musical notes that go into creating instrumentation and so forth. Now, we like to think that as an artist, we may drop some bars on a track, make a hook, and we're automatically entitled to own it. But off rip, in order to own 100% of a song, you'd have to cut out the producer. You know what I'm saying? Which makes no sense, right? So in a lot of traditional cases, producers are demanding 50% of the master. If you're currently buying beats or leasing beats online from marketplaces like BeatStars, you'll see in most standard agreements on there, they want 50% of the master, 50% of writers and publishing, and some are even demanding 100% of publishing for things that you create to their beats. And they're not necessarily wrong for demanding that because it already existed before you got to it. And that's what I'm going to get into now. The reason a producer can make these demands is because they play a vital part in the song. And from the moment that the producer creates a beat, they're entitled to the copyright of that creation. So if you've ever heard of what a lot of people try to call a poor man's copyright and things of that nature, the moment that you create something and invent something, you are pretty much entitled to the copyright on that. Now, somebody else can go file a copyright in place of you if you don't do it first. But in theory, you pretty much own the copyright until further notice, as long as nobody else is privy to what you've done. So as an artist or a lyricist or a songwriter, you have that same leverage in terms of your lyrics and the things that you write. So off top, y'all should be sharing ownership because your lyrics or their lyrics, your production, their production comes together to create 100%. Now, when a producer, like I said before, when a producer says they want 100% of publishing, it's a bit excessive. But when you are going on people's websites and going on YouTube and going on BeatStars, you're already putting yourself in a compromising position because you're not working directly with people. You're not creating ideas from scratch that you both are contributing to. So that person has higher leverage over the situation than yourself. All right. So these are things that you got to keep in mind, and it's stuff that you got to keep in mind as you move forward, because once you buy or lease a beat from the producer and you want to do more things with that song, they also have a say so on what exactly you can and can't do, because they're in the position of power. They are the one that created that composition. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of things you got to be privy to when you're coming out here trying to be an artist. You can't just jump in and out the game. Andrew Dominic, thank you for tuning in. Be sick if I came to Panama City to do a show. I think that would be dope too, man. Right now, I'm actually not doing shows in the public. I'm only doing private engagement. So like, if you've seen the last performance I did, it was in a TV studio, and I've been doing virtual performances for a minute, but I'm pretty much keeping it that way until I really feel comfortable, either with the COVID situation or the vaccine situation. Both I'm not comfortable with, so nah. But I digress on that particular subject. We'll keep things moving. So for those of y'all out there, I'm sure some of y'all may or may not have heard, but there's a songwriter producer by the name of Tiffany Red out there, who's an established producer and songwriter for people like Jennifer Hudson, Tamar Braxton. She's written songs on Star and Empire. Those are the TV shows where you know, the actors be actually performing like they're really artists. So she's written songs that they perform on those shows. She's written some K-pop music. And right now she's got a campaign called the 100 Percenters that's gaining traction right now. And she's lobbying for songwriters, producers, and engineers to start reaping more benefits on masters, mechanical royalties, and publishing. So in the coming years, we may be sharing more percentages than what's currently standard, because there's people out there that are, you know, I mean, really contributing to the artist or the face being the star that they are. So I'm not in disagreement about that. I know there's people out there that get a large slice of the pie that may not be happy about that, but you know what I mean? We got to start sharing equity in this game, man. A lot of people get put on as work for hire, and then these songs go platinum, gold, and all of this stuff, and then they just got a one-time payment and they're cut out the deal. So it really doesn't make sense. And that's what Tiffany Red and the 100 Percenters are all about. They're reaping the benefits of those people that have been shunned. If you want more information about Tiffany Red, you can follow her at I am Tiffany Red on Instagram. I've already signed the petition that she has going on. I do function as a full-time artist and full-time songwriter. So the more legislation protecting your work as creators and originators, the better. So make sure y'all look into that. All right. So I actually have a guest coming on in about 5 minutes. His name is SLik D. He's based in Long Beach, California. He is also an artist and a songwriter. And I'm really looking forward to having him on, because we got some really dope things that we got to cover in our discussion. You know, when we talk about ownership, we also have to talk about finances. Who is putting up the money? Because if you're not willing to fund yourself, then it's going to be tough. You know what I mean? Like, you got to build from the ground up. You got to be able to save. You got to be able to, you know, put things up for yourself in order to move forward. And if you're not going to do that, then you're basically going to have to allow somebody to buy in some sort of way to what it is that you're doing. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. We talk about labels, we talk about publishers and things of that nature in a bad light oftentimes in the independent community. But if you know how these things function and what their job is and what they're made to do, maybe a lot of us would not be complaining so much, and we would just understand whether or not we want to go into those sorts of partnerships. The more information you have, the better. Now, I know that you know, a big thing that people come to me about is my work in sync licensing. And what I will tell you about sync licensing is that is a world where me personally, I do not own 100% of anything that I've done in that field. And I'm not ashamed to say that. You know what I mean? A lot of times I'm really just brought on as a writer and a vocalist. I work with producers who are established in that field, and we pay everybody that contributes to that work fairly. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you get 50%, sometimes you get 33%, sometimes you may get 25%, especially if there's co-producers and co-writers involved in the process. But you have to understand what you're being presented with in order to make a sound decision, a good financial decision based on what it is that you're trying to do. All right. So off rip, that demystifies that 100% ownership. And it should pretty much go that way for anything that you're doing. If you're collaborating with somebody, y'all should be working on a pretty equal plane. You know what I mean? Maybe if somebody has a bigger platform, they may try to take a bigger share of the pie, which is understandable to a degree, but y'all really should be working as equal parties if y'all coming together to create. Let me see if there's any comments in here. We getting some comments rolling in finally. All right. So Key Turner, hey bro, classes in session. What's good, Key? What do I have coming in the future? Well, I have Land of Shit out now. I also have Self Love out now, and I have a new song coming out at the end of the month called Dinner for Two. Stay tuned for that. We're really not here to talk about me personally. It's really about the business, but I appreciate the inquiries and I will answer them accordingly. You say I have an Atlanta Renaissance going on. Do I do artwork? I do not do artwork. I'm not actually talented in the field of graphic design or anything of that nature. I'm not sure if you're talking about that type of artwork or if you're talking about NFT artwork. Either way, that's not my area of specialty. What's good, Patricia? Thank you for joining and watching. I appreciate it. So yeah, where was I last? I think I was talking about the ownership thing and the royalty game. So a lot of stuff that I do, I end up getting probably anywhere in the range between 25 to 50%. But then you also have publishing, which is the other side of your performance royalties. In most cases, when you start getting into the sync world specifically, and if you are just a dope ass songwriter, you'll probably be approached by publishing companies or publishers or music library companies. And a lot of times, songs get sold to those companies. Now, that does not mean that you are selling all of your rights as an artist or a writer. It just means that you're selling your rights, or you're selling shares, I should say, of that to a company, of that creation, just that. Unless you sign a full-on publishing deal that says you got to reach a benchmark of X amount of songs within this term, then it's only for a one-time thing, and you can continue to work with them as needed. I do everything that I do on a non-exclusive basis. That's just me. Some people don't have that luxury. But let me go over this. So you have the publishing, which is the other side of your performance royalties. In most cases, we'll sell the songs to music libraries or publishers, so they take control of the publishing half, but that's only on music I do, specifically in sync. I've never signed an exclusive contract that allows an outside publisher or label to own 100% of my publishing, and I've never signed away my masters, although I do share ownership of them with the people that I create with, like I was saying before. Your writer and composer and publishing splits are collected by your PRO, which will be BMI, ASCAP, CSAC, and a host of others, depending on what country you're in. But in the case that some of your royalties are not collected, you should either sign up with the MLC, which is a company that collects your mechanical licenses and mechanical royalties. So sometimes when you put music out, say through a DistroKid, and it goes on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, etc., you feel like you're getting all of your royalties, but sometimes there are royalties that get missed and they go into what is called the black box, which basically gets redistributed to the top 10% of the music industry at the end of every year. So in order to make sure that your music is not paying Drake, you need to sign up with the MLC, or you could sign up with Song Trust or some type of publishing administration company that can go out there and make sure that they're collecting on your behalf. Let me see. What do you say here? I'll ask my questions in a different live stream. Yeah, man, I appreciate that, man. This is more of an educational type of situation. I appreciate you tuning in and having questions. I really do. But you know, this is not the Jay Nolan show, although we're on the Jay Nolan Twitch and YouTube. You know what I mean? We'll have other streams where we can kind of get more in depth about those things. It's actually time for me to bring on my guy SLik D. So let me go ahead and give him his proper introduction. Like I said before, SLik D is an artist and producer based out of Long Beach, California. He's been doing music for a long time. I can't wait to have him on. So let me make sure that he's in the stream. Yes, he is. Oh, he just disappeared. SLik D, where you go, brother? Okay, well, SLik D just disappeared for a moment, so I'll check back in with him in a moment. So, when it comes to splitting shares, I'll give y'all an even better example, right? So, a lot of people talked about Jay-Z selling Tidal. Jay never owned 100% of Tidal, contrary to popular belief. But he has what we would like to call administrative rights to do deals on behalf of the company. So, as he had a majority ownership, you know what I'm saying, but he didn't have full ownership. He's now sold a majority stake to Square, similar to how it works with dealing with publishers. If you don't have the rights to sell a song to a company, then you need to get written consent from any writers or producers or contributors before you can sell it to a publisher or even a major label or anybody that wants to do business with you. If you have people that are included in that work, you got to get written consent from those people. You can't just do deals based on your own wants and needs. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, when it comes to mechanical rights, it's pretty much the same concept. Artists, producers, and labels eat off of mechanical royalties when your music is sold or streamed. In order to own 100% of that effectively, you would have to cut out all of your contributors in order to get a larger slice of the pie. Only situation I can really justify that would be in the situation if you're producing CDs and you are the sole proprietor that's putting up money to produce those. Then it makes sense. Like, hey man, I know I created music with y'all, but I'm out here selling this and I got to put the money up. So I'm going to keep this. Cool. My guy SLik Dizzle is back in effect. So now we can go ahead and add him to the stream. All right. Y'all ready for this? SLik D, what's up, brother?
What's up, player?
Oh man, everything is good, man. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm blessed, dude. This is my first time on one of these streams, man. So
Bet.
It's pretty cool, man. But it's good to talk to you, man. Just
Likewise.
the people that's watching, man. Me and Jay, we go back, man, damn near 10 plus years at this point. So
yep.
It's a blessing.
Yeah, man. This is Twitter music. They need to go ahead and break some bread with us to create some kind of Twitter music coalition or something, man. Because it's a lot of us that have been out here that's been pushing on that platform for a long time, and we starting to get where we need to get. You feel me?
Yeah, that's actually very creative. Twitter. One thing I recently learned about Twitter was that they don't really rock with YouTube. Where you can't post YouTube videos because of the ads. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I always thought that was pretty cool. I mean, of course they have their in-ad program, but it's Twitter out of all programs has been platforms. They've kept it the realest. You know what I'm saying? The most authentic. Right. So hopefully they continue to be like that.
They will, man, and that's the whole thing of that Tidal deal with Jay and Jack, who owns Twitter. I think that's gonna be an integration pretty soon. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we'll see it. But yeah, man. So you just said we've been rocking for about 10 years. So talk about your process of coming into the game as an artist, and when did you feel like I'm no longer doing this as a hobby? This is more of a professional thing for me.
Okay, so I've grew up. I'm pretty energetic, happy-go-lucky guy. Grew up freestyling, beatboxing. You know what I'm saying? So it's always been in me. I learned in 06. I was actually on the football team. Freestyling on the sideline. I wasn't getting that much play, but I was. Everybody knew me. But we were just we started kicking all the football team, and one of my football members, he was like talking about how the homie was recording at his house, and I overheard it, and I was like, wait, you can record it at your house? And this is 06, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
During that time, I was 15, I think, for the most part. And I was, man, for that, I always thought it was big studios and that was the only way you can get in, so that was my gateway to knowing that it was possible. And ever since then, man, I've just always been a curious guy. And the music, I think we met in like 09, You know what I'm saying? '08,
Yep.
so say. You know, that was when it really started. You know,
Yep.
I was doing it for fun. You know, with everybody online. AIM days. You feel me? Where you could just. It was the when AIM was the Discord. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, in the MySpace. You feel me? And that was definitely an experience on itself. Just as far as like seeing people rock with your music, but having the ability to put your song on their page, you know, that was huge. You know, there
Yep.
hasn't been, you know, I mean, Instagram and all that good stuff does it, but it wasn't nothing like going on to someone that you like's page or just someone cool who was influenced by, you know, the cool cat, and you was like,
Right.
oh, this track was. What song is this? Boom! Next thing you know, you look it up, and I still got songs like that I can
Yep.
remember from certain people that tie. You know, music is a beautiful thing for that, you know,
Absolutely.
and that's why we're both in it. Absolutely. You know, and that's funny. You got people, you know, asking about your music, you know, it ain't the Jay Nolan show, but it is though, you know, and, you know, they wouldn't be here if it wasn't for what you've done. So I think that's awesome. And I'm you know, I'm blessed. And just to continue on your question, you know, it was like, you know, I always coming from California, I always thought, you know, there's so many people out here, you know, I'm not worried about selling my music to all these people. I rather just all these people know who I am, and then at a snap of a finger, if I'm able to drop a project or a song, everyone knows where, you know, just to have that pull and that magnitude, you know, that influence like people do. But just with California, it's possible. So, you know,
Yep.
California being its own governed, you know, state in a sense, you feel me? So I've always just kept that to heart. And Snoop, you know, Snoop, one of the biggest guys around, you feel me,
Right.
from Long Beach as well. And just he just he was the first of the first, you know what I'm saying? He's likable, but he's
Right.
still true to himself. And, you know, it's a beautiful thing. Russell Westbrook, you know what I'm saying, just got his,
Right.
you know, he from Long Beach too, so it's cool.
Absolutely.
And I didn't know that at first, but, you know, I always thought, you know, he was just a goofy guy who danced and who's really nice at
Right.
ball, you know. And the more I got into it, now, you know, it just makes sense. Everything aligns. I'm big in the world and the universe where everybody was
Absolutely.
born, and, you know, but just keep going, you know. So
Yeah.
with that
So
being said, the music was pure, and
right. Right.
eventually Spotify came around.
Yep.
Just like, you know, what was that? I would say 2013 is when I signed up, you know, with
Mm-hmm.
them.
Yep.
Apple Music, it was Spotify, Apple Music. I went with Spotify just because it was just like more user friendly looking.
Yep.
And, you know, I've been paying since. I've never missed a payment. You know, just the whole experience has always been a cool thing. And, you know, even with the music, you know, I actually had a buddy who got on to started selling music before I did. And I was really the guy who everyone expected to, you know, have official music on first. But, you know,
Right.
I
Right.
was kind of just life happens, you know. So when he did that, I
Absolutely.
was like, okay, I guess it's time for me to write something. So it was 2014 when I
2014. Okay.
yeah, I was like, okay, my latest project is gonna be on Spotify. I want it on Spotify. So boom. Dropped it August 15th. I actually dropped it. So, you know, this is disclaimer. I had dropped it on Tunecore,
Right.
and I
Okay.
had scheduled it. I dropped it the night before thinking that it was like SoundCloud.
That
And
was
I
this is
learned the
gonna be
hard
up.
way. Yeah, you know how it works. Yeah, it stalled me out. So I'm over here like, oh, we on. I'm on, you know, Instagram, all that good stuff. Ah, boop, you know, where's it at? I'm like,
Right.
okay, so I learned the hard way. You know, it came out September something. I was like, it's out again. You know what I'm saying? Just a little reminder. But, you know, ever since then,
Yeah.
you know, it's just I'm pretty sure, you know, it was the first time, you know, 2014. And, you know, even then I wasn't even doing it for the money. I was just doing it
Right.
for the validation, you know, and just, you know, taking myself, I'm getting older and I just got to take my craft serious as a career if I really want, you know, as far as you talking with publication, you
For
killing it,
sure.
man. You know,
Thank you. Thank you.
everybody watching this, man. This guy's over here killing it in the sync game, man. You know, he getting commercials. He on the Kevin Hart thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's beautiful, man, and it's really
Thank you.
best of both worlds as far as like with the screen because
Mhm.
I've never did none of that, and but I found success in 2015. You know, it was kind of just you know, like stocks, man, or just the Bitcoin thing going on right now, the dog coin, you know, just
Right.
kind of just checking my bank account, you know, it'd be like $15. I'm like, okay, so you know, whatever. Next thing you know, it's just like $20, $80. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, hold up, we getting some, you know, and you can look on, you know, one thing I like about Spotify is that on the desktop version, you can there's like the discovered on, so you know
Mhm.
you can see the playlists and the
Right.
influences that where people came from, and it's been like that since day one. And so, you know, I'm gonna keep it a buck. You know, it's not even a secret. I tell people this all the time. I started looking into it, and I'm like, okay, where's all these plays coming from? And
Yeah.
it was a dancer who was like a YouTube dancer. I forget his name, but he had put one of my songs on his playlist, and it was, you know, it took off, and
Okay.
it's crazy because you know even till today, 2021, you know those songs are the reason why I get most of my money. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay.
and you know it's a beautiful thing. I mean, it's kind of just like having like a you know mystical with shake your ass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's his hit. You
Right.
know, so it's I don't look at it like, oh man, you know, I'm living off of this, but at the same time, I'm like I'm blessed that I kind of did make a hit. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah, for sure.
more than one hit, but just in general. So, um, you know, the streams, man, they went up to from that 80. Now it's like a consistent 4, 3, 5. You know, depending on the month. You feel me?
Yeah,
But it's consistent. And
for
it's
sure.
given, you know, Tunecore is dope. You know, I'm also on DistroKid now, but
Right.
Tunecore, I feel like it's a lot. It's for the people. It's for the artists who have a following and a pool.
Right, exactly. So that's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about. So I had put this tweet out the other day basically asking if I had any artists that were in my timeline or in my followers that had actually, you know, received any type of advances or anything, because there's new companies out there like Beat Bread, the Music Fund, and basically what they'll do is they'll front you money and they will basically take their cut back from your streaming royalties of that nature until you kind of like break even. Some of them even have like interest rates and stuff like that. But you hit me up and you said that you've actually received advanced funding from Tunecore. So I was like, oh man, I think this would be a great thing to talk about because I don't think a lot of artists really understand that this is something that's available to them. So can you share like what that process was like the first time that you actually, you know, maybe even signed up to receive that? Like, what was that like?
Yeah, absolutely. So I check my email every day, point blank period. You know, I got that Tunecore. It was like I said, it was 2015 was when I really started seeing the boost. By 2000 summer 16, it was really like my first 400. I was like, oh man, that's now I'm thinking like, okay, that's livable if I start timesing this up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but it was still consistent. So the fact that I was learning that it was consistent, I'm like, oh wow, so this is it. You know, this is, you know, you're on stock for the most part. As long as you're
Right.
doing good, it keeps going up, and you're always going to be getting paid per month. So, um, I'm not too sure that the specific day that I could look it up, but I'm not gonna do that. But
No, that's all good.
they hit me with the email like, "Hey man, you make consistent streams and consistent income. So with that being said, we're opening up this thing with Lyric Financial. I remember that's what the bank is called,
Yep.
and that's what it was at first. Now they're Payoneer. Are you on TuneCore?
No, but I've looked all this stuff up, so I'm
Okay,
familiar
yeah,
with the information. They still actually promote Lyric Financial on the TuneCore website, but I think Payoneer is where the money actually comes from.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, or from what I've looked at, Payoneer is basically like it's an international spot that got major bread, and then like they give you the access to turn your money into European money, you know, different
Currency
country
exchange.
money.
Yep.
Yeah, currency exchange, exactly. So I have a you know, let me see if I have it on me right now. I don't, but it's usually a card, you know what I'm saying? And I have a card, and I can use that card, you know. So basically how the transaction goes, let's just say I go into my TuneCore account, you know, on the side, there's a little advance button. I click on it. It goes through the portal. It tells me how much I'm able to pull in, you know, and I'm gonna be very transparent because you can do it too, whoever's watching it, you know what I'm saying? Even you too, Jay, you know what I'm saying? I always encourage my people. This is what I do. I'm blessed. I just took out a loan to pay my bills, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And, you know, invest in like sports gambling, you know what I'm saying? I'm in Vegas right now, so you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You know, it's my thing now, and those are my two things: music and sports gambling, and
Gotcha.
growing marijuana. You know what I'm saying? I'm just
Hey,
really,
man, entrepreneur, you gotta do your thing.
absolutely. I'm, you know, just doing what I love, man, for the most part, and just it's America. It's 2021, and we don't have. I'm not saying that everybody. The thing about music is I'm blessed that everyone likes my music. You know what I'm saying? I'm not cocky about it, but I'm real with it, and that's what
Right.
makes me successful. And you know, 98% of the people that listen to my music will thumb it up for the most
Right.
part.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Absolutely.
um,
So
you
when it
know,
comes to the Tunecore thing, like what are some of the increments that you could like be eligible to receive from the company, being that you're somebody that's like, you know, consistently earning on their platform?
you say increments.
Yeah, like what are they willing to like advance you?
Oh, okay, yeah. So you know, with the four, you know, I think my last one was. I'm gonna say my highest has been like 2,500. You
Okay.
know, so you know, of course, just like you said, as soon as I take it out, they're taking the money that comes in from my Tunecore straight to Payoneer, so say,
Right.
and paying it off. And you're able to look at your balance. You know, I think you're able to pay it off if you have money ducked off or something like that. I haven't
Mm-hmm.
did that. I just once I take the loan out, I kind of, you know, pre-plan when it's gonna happen, so I don't even think about opening up my Tunecore until it's repaid. So you know, it's a beautiful thing. It's gotten me out of a lot of loopholes in my life. You know, it's always been rent. You know what I'm saying? For the
Sure.
most
Right.
part, just being an artist, keeping it real. Um, and it's given me a little breather. It's a beautiful thing because it's made me establish myself as okay. This is coming from Tunecore, but you know my label is Good Vibes California.
Yes, sir.
So I'm looking at it like okay, my label Good Vibes California is blessing me with an advance because I'm their artist, and they want me to thrive, and that's what a good label would do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Right. Right.
that's how I look at it. I don't look at it as no negative. You know, it's a blessing, and it can
Right.
only get so bigger. I'm pretty sure Russ, you know, he's the number one guy when it comes to this
Yeah.
Tunecore
Yeah.
distro.
He's talking about it all the time. Yep.
Dude, I mean, I'm pretty sure he can pull out $1 million up front if he wanted to. He just doesn't need to because once you got $1
Right.
million, you know, you're on. So, but if he wanted to
Absolutely.
on some land, you know what I'm saying, just because, or you know, you never know. That's just
Yeah,
always,
'cause he's
always that.
clearly a top earner in the TuneCore ecosystem.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a blessing to have though.
Absolutely. So yeah, man. Before I let you go, like, what do you have coming up? Like, let us know what you have coming up and where people can follow you and support your music.
Oh yeah, I appreciate you, my G.
Yes, sir.
You know, you can find me at slikdizzle.com or you can just Google it or Slik D. I go by SLik Dizzle. I got some new music coming up. It's kind of on the hush hush, but honestly,
Okay.
seeing that this is exclusive, I go ahead and for my guy. I got
All
this
right.
called Post Pandemic. You know what I'm saying? You know, and it's just talking about you know it's a good party song when you know the city opens up and you know everybody's happy and living their life and but at the
Dope.
same time being thankful for what we have and you know it's on some Bruno Mars kick but it's all
Okay.
right so you know
Dope. Dope.
but yeah I'm planning on I'm doing this track so I can you know upload it and hopefully it becomes another kicker so I can you know get a bigger raise for my next
Hey, that's what it's
man.
all about, man. I'm sure it's gonna be successful, man. You've already done well. I'm sure people are waiting on it. So, you know, I'll be
But
waiting on it as well, bro. So, thank you for taking the time out to talk to me and just give me a
yeah,
little bit of
man.
your experience, bro. And yeah, man. Peace.
Hey, my guy. God bless you, my G. I'm still be
God
watching
bless.
this thing.
All right, bet. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. So that was my guy SLik D, aka SLik Dizzle, and we talked about his experience working with Tunecore. We're gonna go right into my next guest, who goes by the name of Really Khalil. And if y'all know me, y'all know SLik. I mean, y'all know Really Khalil. Worked with him on Fresh and Local Fest. Worked with him on interviews with Untitled. So we got a pretty good rapport with each other. So we're gonna go ahead and bring him onto the stream now, as long as he's ready. It looks like he is. So let's go. What's
Yeah,
going
what's
on,
good?
brother?
What's
How
up
you
with you?
doing? Oh
I'm
man,
good,
everything is
man.
good, man. You know, just trying to put together this little series to where we could just educate independent artists, songwriters, producers, just a continuation of everything that I've been building so far this year, man. But
For
I
sure.
appreciate you for coming on and
Yeah,
take a little time. So go ahead and
appreciate you
introduce
for
yourself to the
inviting me.
people. Absolutely. So go ahead and introduce yourself to the people real quick.
What's up, everybody? My name is Really Khalil. You can find me everywhere at Really Khalil. You can contact me at reallyKhalil@gmail.com. Yeah, I'm an up and coming artist. That's what I like to call myself.
Okay.
And I'm excited to be here, talk about what I do.
Exactly. All right, man. So off rip, man, for the past maybe like year or so, you've been dropping some absolute heaters, and your videos have like stepped up like 1,000%, bro. Like, and your videos were already good, but they've stepped up like 1,000% beyond what they already were. So tell us a
Appreciate
little bit about the process of like how things changed for you in 2020 specifically, because that's when I started really seeing the glow up, as they call it.
Yeah. Well, the major change is that I moved back to Georgia,
Okay.
and the move was needed. And me and my girlfriend, we just started collaborating on a lot of stuff. She directs my videos, so
Okay.
that's her quality, that's her touch, female
Okay.
touch on everything. Yeah, man. Outside of the quality enhancing, I've just been really trying to work on the infrastructure of this business that I'm building,
Yes,
and
sir.
whether it be getting onto certain platforms or getting funding or whatever the case is, like I just been trying to do everything I possibly can on the back end to really just give myself more support with this whole thing, because we need as much support as we can get.
Absolutely.
Yes,
For
sir.
sure. And I recently noticed that you are running a crowdfunding campaign with a company by the name of Music Benefactors. So, what can you tell us about Music Benefactors and what was so appealing about actually doing something with them specifically?
Yeah, man. Music Benefactors is a brand new kind of crowdfunding platform. So basically, Music Benefactors is registered with the SEC,
Mhm.
which they're able to allow their artists on their platform to sell shares of any project,
Okay.
whether it be an album, an EP, a single, a tour, the brand itself. Whatever that project is attached to an LLC that you create. So people are technically buying shares of your business, of your company.
Right. Okay.
Whatever money that company makes, they get a piece of it. So basically, with Music Benefactors, we're trying to ensure that people get their return on investment, and by ensuring that we have good quality and it's in front of people's faces, people can be positive about getting their return. Not only that, we're also using like a software that will automatically disperse royalties, where I don't have to press any buttons or touch anything. They get what they earn automatically. So nobody
That's
gets mad at
yeah.
me like, hey, I see you doing some stuff, but where my
That's a
money
key
at,
right
man?
there. Yeah. That
So
is
this
a key.
basically this basically gives fans and investors an opportunity to have ownership of my music. Instead of just being a fan, you can feel like you were a part of the success,
Right.
and say that. I encourage people to actually say, hey, I played a huge role in that artist's success, and I really support their music. This is what I did.
Right.
So it's exciting, man. It's something new, brand new. I
Right.
mean,
Right.
technically, I made history. I'm the first hip hop artist that is able to sell shares through our SEC registered platform. So my business is public. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for those of y'all that are tuned in and maybe y'all didn't understand exactly what this man just said, but his crowdfunding campaign allows you to not only, you know, help fund the project, but you're basically coming on board as an investor where you're buying shares of the project that's coming out. So you will be paid when he gets paid as well. Like
Exactly.
that's a crazy system right there. And he said that they're using technology that makes sure that y'all will be getting your royalties. You're not gonna have to expect to send him an email like, hey man, I see this been out for a year and I ain't been paid yet. What's going
Right.
on? You know what I'm saying? Like this ain't gonna be
Right.
on his personal laptop or nothing like that where he controls it. Like they already have a technology in place where it's gonna be automatically dispersed. So you can feel confident about the money that's gonna be coming, or should I say the profits from the shares that you've purchased.
Yeah, and that technology is already being used by the music and movie industry.
Okay.
Specifically, one example, SAG-AFTRA, like they use that, you know. So if anybody is familiar with SAG-AFTRA, it's a recording artists and actors union.
Yes, sir.
And if you're a member of SAG, like you get a lot more opportunities. That's something that I foresee in my future that I'm reaching towards. But like I said, a union like that and other, you know, even outside of the movie and music industry, people use that to disperse royalties. So, you know, these bigger companies, these bigger organizations are already using this. This isn't brand new. So, you know, you don't have to worry about it glitching. You'll get your money. You'll get your money.
But but it's fire that someone such as yourself, an independent artist that's been grinding, and we've seen your grind, is now in a position to be working with that type of technology and this type of program, because you're now putting yourself in a position for success. You know what I'm saying? And you're only going to continue to grow from here. So I also noticed in the campaign that you made note of a couple other companies called Big Picture Media and Nesta Music. So what can you tell us about them, and what is your collaboration with them as well?
Yeah. So remember when I was saying like we're gonna make sure the quality is good, and I have a sidebar about that. But not only that, we're gonna make sure that the project is being put in front of people's faces. Big Picture Media is a PR company, a big PR company based in New York. They've worked with, for example, let's see, the Creed 2 promotion. They've worked with the Deadpool 2 soundtrack. They've worked with Naughty by Nature. They've worked with let me see, who else have they? Kansas, just a bunch of different bands and a bunch of different artists and companies. South by Southwest, they help promote that. Yeah, the list goes on. So dealing with them, they have a nice touch on how they promote. They take a holistic approach where it's more natural. Instead of, hey, listen to this, it's, hey, you know, here's an artist that you may not have heard about. Here's a little bit about them and why you might want to be interested in them. And they just take a more natural approach. And so far, you know, I've already been working with them a little bit. They've gotten me, you know, some things. So I'm confident that once we get this money and we put this project out, everything will go into overdrive. Nesta Music is an independent label services provider. So what they do is they provide label services to independent artists and independent labels as well. They've worked with Google, Columbia Records, Spotify, and their list goes on. So they know what they're doing. They're going to be helping with the strategy on how we drop, when we drop, you know, where we push to, what messages we give out when we push to specific areas, stuff like that. The first meeting I ever had with him, he was just talking about things I never thought of. So I'm really excited about moving forward with him and his company. So yeah, man. And like I said, the quality side of things, we've linked up with a top mix engineer. He has over 100 platinum records under his belt. So, oh, hey, I'm seeing comments. Oh, what's good? That's what's up. Yeah, man. Yeah, so we're working with oh, that's Key. What up, Key? We're working with a few mix engineers who one of which has 100 platinum records under his belt. Another one has worked with a lot of artists that we know and adore today, like Kid Cudi, Juice WRLD, Burna Boy, so on and so forth. And then a third who's worked with a few other artists like 21 Savage, Young Thug, you know. So yeah, getting the quality from them, because like you know, I could mix it myself, but do I really know what I'm doing? I don't think so. So getting the quality from them, making sure that it's top notch, and then getting that PR from this, you know, this PR company, and then having the strategy to be able to push it the right way will ensure that people get their profits. You know what I mean? Like you're not just gonna get money and get back pennies. Like you're gonna get your money times, I can't give you a number, but tenfold. You know what I mean? Like that's the plan. Obviously with any investment, risk is involved. But I don't see anybody being afraid of that risk nowadays with the Bitcoins and all the other cryptocurrencies and the NFTs.
Investing is becoming a lot more commonplace.
Yeah. And people, even with the new like blockchain technology that people are investing in, people are still investing in your classic stocks. And technically that's what this would be classified under. The thing about when you buy shares with my company though, is that there's no fluctuating factor. There's nothing that's going to say, oh, it was worth this, but now it's worth that. No, it's one solid price. It's one solid value. And the only factor is how many royalties we bring in from that point. And then it's lifetime. So if this track, gets maybe a movie placement or whatever the case is, royalties that come from all sides, not just streaming, will come into their pockets. So yeah, man, we working on some stuff over here, man. I'm really excited.
That's dope, man. I think I'll be go ahead and putting my shares in. You know what I'm saying? For real.
Appreciate it.
So yeah, man. As an artist that writes, and you still produce your own music, right?
Of course.
All right. So in general, you are pretty much entitled to a bigger share of the pie when it comes to your mechanical royalties, publishing, performance rights, and things of that nature. So how do you approach business when it comes to partnering with other entities? You know what I'm saying? Like as you are bringing in like a Nesta Music or something like that. I know you probably don't want to divulge all of your business, but how do you go about, partnering up with those companies? Are they entitled to your publishing or things of that nature? Or is this just a as needed type of situation?
So yeah, specifically with those companies is as needed. So, I'll be paying Big Picture Media from the investments. And the same thing goes with Nesta. They just get a certain percentage of investment. So they don't own any of my music. Now I have been getting into working with other artists, features, and then also doing a few collaborations with beats as well. And with that's just a split sheet. You know what I mean? We agree on something up front, or after the fact, after we create this fire, it's like, all right, that's fire. All right. Now let's talk about how much I deserve. And to be completely honest, like I'm a very nice person, but I'm also fair to myself as well. And I know how much work I put into it. Normally I'm putting in 100%, you know what I mean? So when it comes down to bringing other people in, I normally kind of like round up a little bit, but I still make it fair for me, because if I'm writing, I'm making the beat, you know what I'm saying? That's already most of the work. So the feature depends on how much of the song that they occupy. For any like session musicians or any other producers, it depends on like how much of the work they contributed to the actual completion of the backing track. But yeah, man, it's one thing that I suggest for artists out there is to always be not only fair to yourself, but be fair to other people, because you don't want to just work with somebody one time and they just be like, oh, nah, they wasn't trying to give me what I was worth. I'm not going to work with them
experience,
again.
right?
You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to invest in that way as well. Like I know I want to work with this person again. I know that they're asking for payment up front, but let me get them a little portion of the back end as well, because I want to work with them in the future. And they, you know what I'm saying? They doing things on their end. And I feel like our network connecting would probably be best. So that's the way that I think about things, It's just about being fair to your present, but also being fair to your future.
No, I 100% agree with that, man. And I think that for those that are tuned in, like if y'all haven't taken note of that in the past, before you heard it from here, like make sure you take a note of it now, because that is 100% a fact. I'm sure there's artists out there that are, probably collaborating with people and really don't know the ins and outs of how things are supposed to work. So when they go on their DistroKid, or they're going in on their performance rights organization and logging this stuff in, they're like, oh, it's my music, so I'm gonna take 100%. And
that's messed up.
it's messed up, but a lot of people just
Yeah.
don't know any better. They're not even
Yeah.
trying to mess people over. They just don't know. And that's why I say, please take note of these things, because you're really messing over your friends or your collaborators and people that you're working with just based off of the fact that you didn't know any better. So the more information you have, you now have the responsibility to do better. You know what I mean? And that's something that we all gotta do better with in the creative community, because as independents, there is no bigger company that's gonna come down and put the hammer on us like, hey, you did that wrong, boom. You know what I mean? And now you know what I mean? Some of us don't even have guidance or any type of mentors that are telling us these things, but we gotta be able to tell each other little tricks of the trade so that we can build a proper ecosystem in which everybody is eating, everybody is at least in some form or fashion equal. Because when you go out here and start dealing with some of these major entities, they're not always as fair, but at least if you know now, you can equip yourself and you can look out for the red flags later as well.
Right.
So with this project, what can we expect musically from you in your evolution, and when can we actually expect to hear this new project coming?
Yeah, man. So the project is called As a Matter of Fact. My music has always been about, how I feel, what I've gone through, how I want to feel, how I, you know what I'm saying, even through my downs, how I want to be up. It's always about me. So as a matter of fact, it's just getting a little bit deeper into my story. I always kind of graze the surface with my music, and I think that there was a little bit of fear with that, how I just didn't dive deep in. So with this project, I'm diving a little bit deeper within. And I do that. I do that as I go along progressively. But with this is a project dedicated to really get into the nitty gritty. My music is my therapy. So I feel like when I make a good song, I feel good. But sometimes when I feel like I didn't necessarily maybe address whatever issues that I have or whatever that case is, that kind of leaves like a little bit of a void. So I'm trying to fill that void in with this, and hopefully I can move on from some of my demons, man. Like, so that's what this is really about for me personally, but ultimately it's about trying out new things. So like, matching this project up with Music Benefactors and really just pioneering new pathways for independent artists. I saw where y'all were talking about, that there are other investment companies like Beat Bread and what was the other one?
The Music Fund.
Yeah, Music Fund. Yeah. So there are companies out there like that, and these type of companies, the Beat Bears and Music Funds and Music Benefactors, are dedicated really to making sure the independent artists are taken care of. Because being an independent artist a few years back, I would say it was a lot more stressful than being an independent artist now. Like, we're actually being liberated, like feeling our independence, not just saying it. Now, obviously, working with other entities, you're still working with another entity, but essentially the base of it, you're still an independent artist because you're not attached to a label per se. Yeah, man, I'm feeling really good about just this new transition that we're making, how other, top tier artists are speaking out against certain practices that labels are doing more and more progressively, so it's really empowering us to be like, yeah, man, I can really do this. Not just saying it and thinking it, but knowing it. Having that capital like in your hand. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna put this money to that and that to that. Like, we're gonna get this money. Like, you know what I'm saying? Instead of, dang, if I really work hard enough, maybe. Nah, it ain't no maybes. Like, we gotta push, bro. We gotta push. I see you've been pushing, man. I ain't even. I'm talking to your listeners right now. You don't need the pep talk. But yeah, man. But yeah, bro. Like, for the project, I'm trying to drop it by before the end of the summer. All my music have summer vibes, so I mean, I drop summer music in the winter, but I'm trying to drop this by the end of the summer. So trying to time it so that we get a certain amount of money raised, we can put money to certain things, get this stuff mixed down, polished up, and then we can really get started on getting it out there. So there's no date right now. We kind of going with the motion, going with the flow, and when I get a date, everybody will know for sure.
Absolutely. And once again, man, I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to come talk to us about this, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to SLik D for also coming on and talking to us, man. And yeah, I'm probably gonna start doing this. I don't know how often I'm gonna do it just yet, but this is something I'm gonna be building up. This whole Songwriter Social Club here on Twitch and YouTube Live. And just whoa,
I'm supposed to see that.
it's all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
But
they be banging around up in here. They be banging
it's all
around.
good. We gonna act like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So for y'all tuned in, this will be something that we're gonna be doing every now and then. I just want to do my part in educating, especially when it comes to independence. There's been so many years have gone by where we were not equipped and armed with information. We were kind of outsiders. We were looked upon as struggle rappers and wannabes, you know what I'm saying? But now we're actually in a position where we can build businesses as artists, as writers, as producers, and people have to respect that as such. So like you said, man, I'm really happy to see this whole transformation going on. I'm glad to see people that I've known for years are a part of this movement and not giving up and, just kind of be like, maybe the music business ain't for me. And I'm just looking forward to seeing how everything continues to grow because I know it's only up from here. Yeah, man. So much love and respect to you, really, Khalil, SLik D, everybody that tuned in. Much love and respect, and we will see y'all on the next stream.
Hey, if I could say one
go ahead.
thing. Yeah, one thing before we go. I know you probably already said this to your listeners. I'm just reiterating, I'm reinforcing it. Do your research. Like, I guarantee you, even if you feel like you know everything, there's going to be something else out there that you didn't know.
Absolutely.
Research should literally be a part of your routine at least 3 times a week, if not every day. So yeah, that's how I live my life, man. Like I'll be at
work. That's great advice.
Yeah. I'll be at work, research. Like especially if I got a certain question in my head. Oh yeah, I'm gonna figure that out. But sometimes I just go down random rabbit holes, and a lot of times the random rabbit holes is where you really find the information that you would have never thought was out there. Yep. So definitely research. Yeah, I don't want to take up too much time.
No, you good, bro. That was a really good point because there's so many things that are being changed in real time these days, you know what I'm saying? So some of the stuff that used to be common practice or used to be industry standard, these things are now being changed through legislation. People are putting petitions out there. New companies are coming into place in partnership with the federal government to ensure that this is like being regulated. So you made a great point because what used to be isn't necessarily what is right now. And it can change at any given moment, but you got to be paying attention.
Facts. Yeah, man. I appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir. And we're just going to continue to, keep growing. And I will definitely continue to be tuned in with what you got going on. And I will probably be going to your website to make my contribution this week. So
musicbenefactors.com/really Khalil, everybody.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Peace. See y'all next stream.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all. And that is my time. I'm surprised we got through this in an hour. I really planned to be on for about 2, but we covered a lot. And if there's anything you missed from the interviews or from the intro, you can run it back after I end this right about